Rotarians today? Raise your hand. Rotarians with guests. Oh, get a mic runner. Thank you, Gina Marie.
I wasn't going to see, but it's for non-Rotarians.
Yes, okay.
My sister, Greta, and stand up.
Hi, Patty's sister. We love Patty, so we're gonna love you.
My little sister.
She's my older sister.
And what's her name? Chris.
Okay, so we will introduce our guest speakers shortly.
Yeah.
And one of you a Rotarian or two of you? Oh, great. All right. Do we do that now? I want to remind you that Torch Fest t-shirts are available for sale in the back. They're only $10, so please do that. Quick announcement that I want to make, if you didn't notice, Daniela Avila has been appointed by the governor to the Youth Development Council. I don't see her today, but that's pretty cool. Yes, she is. We'll expect some happy bucks around that. And Jim Lefevre is going to do a couple of All Heralds Awards for us. Jim.
Hi. My name's Jim. How are you? Okay, Valerie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just put a little gravity in it. Yes, why? Oh, here it's. Okay, let's see, it looks like this. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll keep it out now. There you go. Thank you very much. Not here. Well, I'll do that one in the future time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Well, that was fast. I didn't have to hurry you along after all. District conference, tomorrow is the last day to sign up, so please be sure to do that. And Dawn Welch will be contacting individual people for, different tasks. All right, do we have any announcements? Want to line up here? And we'll, go through.
In Beaver, Setmar School is finished. Setmar is finished. EST 6 is now officially started, even though they've sort of been working on it. It will be done in 3 weeks. The only hurdle left is the rain. You need the rain to fill it, and then they have to take the water samples and send them off to Mexico City to get the water test done to make sure it's okay to use. But with the incredible filter system they put on this thing, it's 3-stage filter system. This water is going to be the purest water these people have ever drunk from the sky.
The reason why it's been taking too long, a little longer than expected, is twofold. First of all, there was a delay in having some of the cistern delivered. And second of all, they had a strike, and it should be completed now at the school. So there was a school teacher strike, which involved not just teachers, but administration. And then third of all, they had difficulty with labor. They finished part of the job, and then the people would leave to go to the mainland to do a different job. And then when they're ready, they have problems getting the labor back. But they've got the labor problem solved at this point. So EST 6, which is the final installation, should be smooth this month.
So a brief update on the idea of creating a mentorship program with ourselves and some of the various entities in town that look to do that, the Young Professionals Network, Legal Chamber, and Kim Freese's group through RCC and OSU. So we've had a couple meetings with Territory Chamber of Commerce, Trevor Yarish, who's developed and is developing software to help track mentors and mentorees, and a variety of other people in those meetings. So we're moving that forward. It looks like we've established a few first steps. The first step for us is going to be scheduling some programs where we give a little bit of training to all of us of what it means to be a mentor or just to be there. You're not necessarily have to be a mentor as much as this sort of an empathetic listener. And maybe a mirror back to the person, the young professional that's looking to talk about where it is they are in their life. And so we're developing that, and then we're also going to develop a little bit of a database of all of us Rotarians and the various other club Rotarians that might want to be involved in what their skill sets and past experiences have been. So that's upcoming, and it looks like maybe July, August, we'll set up a couple of Rotary programs that should explain the basics of mentoring and that sort of thing. And then also our first, what looks like speed dating with young professionals and people in the need of mentorees at the Hive sometime mid to late August. An evening, that's a cheese and wine kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Most of you have probably gotten, I'm tech savvy now. I officially figured out how to take a link and send a link out for the survey. And I'm getting pinged back with all those things coming back to me and telling me, oh, another survey came in. So thank you for those of you who have answered it. If you haven't gotten it from me, it may be that my eyes are bad and there may be an I or an L in your email that looks wrong, and so I might have gone back, so let me know if you haven't gotten it. I'm kind of chasing around people who I didn't, that it came back to me saying I didn't have the right address, so that's what I'm kind of doing today, is to do that. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to respond. It's fun, and like I said, I feel so techy. Also, I'm going to, now that I know how to P-mail you all, I will probably remind you when you're out shopping to pick up a few things in the future, because the whole idea of the green bag is for you not to have to take a green bag. It's just when you're out shopping during the week, pick up a couple things and bring them to the Rotary meeting on Thursday, and I will just make sure that they get to where they need to get to go to the food bank. So anyway, that will continue.
Yes.
Kind of to piggyback along with what Val was just talking about with the food bank. We are definitely in, we just had a board meeting last night. And I think just last month, we were 88,000 pounds of food short from what we were expecting. And we were only expecting to be like maybe 150,000 pounds for the year short. So anything you can do is definitely appreciated, and it's gonna be needed, because with different cuts and stuff that are coming up, very likely we're going to be seeing more and more people that are gonna be needing food bank help. And right now, we've already been helping 18,000 people a month, so there's a lot there. So anyway, just to kind of tag along with what she said. For Shoes That Fit, most of you probably saw, maybe Jamie had posted it in Facebook in regards to a little picture show that we had from our Shoes That Fit fitting that we did on Tuesday. And then that was for Riverside School. And then next Tuesday, I will be going with a group out to Brookside. So we will be finishing that up. Of course, you know, as we all know, we wish we'd been able to have done the ones for Sunny Gold, because that would have been 90+ kids. But due to issues, the shoes were given out without our knowledge. So anyhow, not their fault. Shoes That Fit should have sent it to me and they didn't. But next year that won't happen. They've already figured that out. I wanted to give just a quickie on your tables. You've got an opportunity to win up to, well, not up to, you have an opportunity to win $100,000 in a sweepstakes drawing. And last year, I think you guys remember, we had a tiny home or 75,000 in cash. This year, because everybody just keeps taking the cash, we just went with 100,000 cash. So, you know, definitely you do that. You can actually enter every day. You do not have to be a Banner Bank client. As a matter of fact, we do 4 $2,500 drawings, and the first year we had it, which was just a couple years ago, 2 of those winners were from Grants Pass. So I want you guys to be the winners, because I can't.
Thank you so much, and I have been waiting for Jan Jones to turn up. I think she's on vacation, but I just want to acknowledge everybody who worked on the Women's Crisis Support Team sale, the clothing sale. All of you volunteers, raise your hand. Yeah. It's not as our club project per se, but our club does a tremendous amount of work toward it, so that's really wonderful. I know they had 1,300 people come through the sale. So All right, let's get on with our program. So you know, we have some people from Asante. We're excited to have them. And they may, after they speak, need to dash out and get back to clinic. But meanwhile, we have Gina Marie, who's also with Asante, is going to introduce our program today.
Thank you. All right, so I think most of you know that we are incredibly fortunate to have the Helen K Cancer Center here in our community, which is a vital hub for cancer services in Southern Oregon and in Northern California. And so today we're going to learn a little bit more about how Asante is meeting the growing needs of cancer patients in our region. And we have 3 speakers here with us today. First is Brian Murphy. He's the director of Asante Cancer Services, and he oversees the operations of both the Hyman Cancer Center in Medford and the Spears Cancer Center here in Grants Pass. He previously led Asante's materials management for 15 years and was the logistics chief for our incident command team during the COVID-19 pandemic, and was crucial in securing all of the supplies and everything that we needed during that unprecedented supply chain shortages during that time. He's also a charter member of the Rogue Valley After 5 Rotary Club. Dr. Rizvi is a specialist in oncology and hematology and has practiced in the Rogue Valley for nearly 2 decades. He currently serves as the Hyman Medical Chair of Oncology and Medical Director for Asante Cancer Centers. And in those roles, he leads cancer service programs, provider education, physician recruitment, and donor and community engagement. And he is a passionate advocate for cancer patients in our region. And then Christian Gold Stagg is Senior Director of Development for Asante Foundation. She joined Asante in 2017 to lead fundraising for what is now the Hyman Cancer Center, and now guides fundraising for cancer services across Asante. She is also a member of the Rotary Club of Ashland, a new member. So please welcome Brian and Dr. Rizvi, who are going to share the latest updates on cancer care in our region, and then Christian will preview what's on the horizon with community support.
Thank you, Gina Marie, and thank you all for having us today. We're excited to talk about Asante Cancer Services. Can you all hear me okay? All right, excellent. So my goal for today is just to talk a little bit about why we've invested in cancer services in Grants Pass, and then a little bit more about what we do. So this first slide we're going to move to here, this one's, to me, the most meaningful slide we have. I've been with cancer services for about 3 years. So I'd say about 8 to 10 years ago, Dr. Rizvi partnered with Asante, so Hematology Oncology Associates, the largest oncologist group in Southern Oregon, partnered with Asante to establish a vision for how we can treat or care for our patients, our cancer patients in this region. And both groups made a considerable decision and a very large investment in supporting our community. Why did we do that? So when we looked at the way we were providing care prior to opening or expanding Spears Cancer Center, average patient would have to go to as many as 15 different locations as they navigated through their care. Think about that. You think about how much time that is away from your family, from your loved ones, doing what you care about. And how much time that is in your car thinking about your next appointment, thinking about your diagnosis. So being able to take all of those services, put them under one roof, dramatically reduces the amount of time that those patients need to spend managing just the logistics of getting their care. So that's a huge driver for us. I'd say an equally impactful driver is, Dr. Rizvi was in one location, but his patients were moving all over the valley to get their care. At this point, as I walked through the building during the day, I could find him down on the ground floor in radiation oncology, checking in on a patient. Upstairs in infusion, making sure that that patient's getting the right treatment. Checking in with lab to make sure that those results are getting processed as quickly and accurately as possible. So your doctors, the quarterbacks or the coaches of that care now have almost direct oversight of how their patients are being treated. Let's say those are two really powerful reasons for the investment that we made. And our volumes have shown that that has been a pretty, a smart investment in our community. So really, that piece here, I think, is something that to me, is my why for what motivates me for helping to be a part of the change and the care that we provide to our patients, especially here in Grants Pass. So here's a list of the services that we provide. And just a picture, this came from we just opened a brand new linear accelerator. We had one linear accelerator in Grants Pass, we now have two. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it's a pretty long list of services that are provided there. And some of them aren't as obvious as it relates to cancer care as others. So things like pharmacy, that's pretty obvious, but the dietitian, someone that's gonna help you understand how nutrition is gonna impact your care. Or there may be something that's impacting your ability to get nutrition. So having that type of service, or a social worker that can help you navigate some of the external challenges that come with the diagnosis. So again, being able to have all of those services in one building, extremely powerful, and really allows us to be as adept and efficient as we can to treat our patients. So who do we serve? I did a count this morning of the locations, the zip codes of the patients that we treat here in Grants Pass. Our patients come from 10 different counties throughout Southern Oregon and Northern California. 10 different counties. You know, when we think about the support here in Grants Pass, all of those folks on the coast, they don't have the services that we provide. And so being able to have that service here in Grants Pass, a lot closer than Medford, it's just absolutely wonderful. But 10 counties to me was pretty compelling and pretty surprising. And along with that, we've been open about 3 years now with our expansions. So when I look at the total number of visits between our Hyman Cancer Center down in Medford and Spears Cancer Center, we've had over 500,000 visits to those cancer centers. It's a bit bittersweet. It's heartbreaking that that's the volume of folks we need to treat. But that's awesome. It's awesome that we're able to do that, have them here, instead of having folks going up to OHSU or Eugene for their treatment. And we're committed to that. We're committed to providing that care. And really our goal is to stay ahead of the demand so that we're able to provide those services and continue to evolve and grow as the needs arise. And so to kind of jump into that piece, some of the things that we've done to invest in Grants Pass, I mentioned, we just opened a brand new linear accelerator. If you've heard of someone getting radiation treatment, that's the machine that delivers the radiation. And so what we just did was we opened up a brand new, it's called a true beam, a variant true beam linear accelerator. So not only does that allow us to essentially double our capacity, we were dealing with delays in our ability to treat our patients. Some patients were having to wait weeks or even more before they could start their radiation treatment. With this machine, we expect that we'll bring that down. Our goal is to bring it down to 7 to 10 days from the first time they meet with their provider. But not only are we going to be able to treat more patients and more quickly, this machine is going to allow us to do more types of treatments. We're going to be able to deliver something called SRS. And what that is that's a higher dose of radiation that's far more targeted at the cancer. And so by doing that, what that means is a patient who used to have to maybe have 15 to 30 visits to that machine, we can now do that in 3 to 5 treatments. So again, that's a lot more time that they get to spend with their family and not worrying about getting to a treatment. On the horizon, we are looking to bring PET studies to Grants Pass. We currently have a PET machine down in Medford, and a PET, I'm not clinical, so my basic explanation for PET, you've all probably heard of a CAT scan, a CT scan. This is like a CT scan on steroids. This is going to really help our doctors better diagnose cancer instances. And so our goal really is to get a PET machine up and running inside the Spears Cancer Center within the next year. So that will be absolutely magnificent for our community. We have similar backlogs there, so not only will it be a wonderful. Patients won't have to travel down to Medford for that, but also we'll be able to get them in soon. So pretty excited about the investments that we're making, we have made, and that we continue to make. I'm absolutely committed to supporting Grants Pass and making sure that we can do everything we can to provide the best care possible for our cancer patients in our community. So appreciate your time today. I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Rizvi. We've got some more to talk about.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for the invite. I hope you can all hear me. Just make sure the slides are in the right order. So just to kind of give you an idea of the history, Brian kind of talked about partnership between Hematology and Oncology Associates and Asante, and how we went about building these two cancer centers in Southern Oregon. But if you go back further in the late 90s and the early noughts, Dr. Kohler, who's one of my partners who's now retired, there were 4 physicians at that time, and decided that patients in Josephine County needed to have oncology services, shouldn't have to drive to Medford for all their care. And so she started coming up once a week. She would fill her car with chemotherapy, drive up with a nurse. They would administer the chemotherapy and then come. We are now a much bigger group. There are 14 oncologists and 12 APPs, physician assistants and nurse practitioners. And all 26 of us come up here at least once a week. So it's a much busier clinic as compared to 20 years ago. The vast majority of cancer care is delivered in the outpatient setting, meaning in a clinic or in an infusion room. I would say 90 to 95% of care can be done as an outpatient. And the care that we provide at Spears is pretty much the same as the care that we provide down in Medford. Some of our patients who do require inpatient or hospital admission, those patients are treated at Roe Regional in Medford. In terms of, Brian kind of touched upon kind of the area that we serve. About 6 months ago, I was on call. It was a Thursday evening, and I got 3 phone calls. The first one was a young lady in her 40s with breast cancer who was unable to walk. And in those situations, you worry about, has the cancer spread to the spine? Is it causing pressure on the nerves? Is that what's causing it? Unfortunately, in Roseburg, after 5 p.m., you can't get an MRI. So the patient was transferred to Roe Regional. I ended up getting an MRI, ended up having surgery that night, ended up having a good outcome, was able to walk afterwards. Same day, I got a call from a patient who was being treated in Chilliquin. She was traveling to OHSU for cancer of the esophagus. He had developed some complications from his chemotherapy. OHSU didn't have a bed. It was going to be a 3-day wait. So we ended up transferring the patient again to Medford, ended up taking care of him, did well. Third phone call that same evening was a patient out in Lakeview who has bladder cancer, was having some trouble with bleeding, trouble with urinating, ended up going to 2 emergency rooms, heading west, couldn't get the care that they needed. So I ended up coming to Medford. So again, that just gives you an idea of how big the area that we serve and how important it is to have cancer care local. Because otherwise you may have to travel an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to get the care that we need. Moving forward, we are always trying to improve, trying to add more services. The closest gynecologic oncologists, so surgeons who take care of patients with ovarian cancer, uterus cancer, vaginal cancer, is up in Eugene. And so what we've done is we have a partnership with OHSU, where one of their surgeons comes down once a month for a week and sees patients here locally, operates on patients with local gynecologists. So that's been a great addition to our cancer services. Brian talked about PET scans. There are your regular PET scans that we order for most cancers, but now there are specialized PET scans, one of them being the PSMA PET scan, which is for prostate cancer patients. When we first talked about bringing that modality down to Southern Oregon, we thought maybe we would do 4, maybe 8 PSMA PET scans a month. Now, I think in 2024, we ended up doing about 230 or 240. So prior to that, patients had to travel to Eugene, to Portland, or to San Francisco to get that test. So again, just looking at that, that saved, 240 trips outside of the area. Another new way to treat patients is theranostics, and basically what it is radiation is an important tool that we use for treating cancers. Theranostics is basically an antibody that has a radioactive particle attached to it. So basically what you're doing is you're infusing that radioactive material into the patient. That material, because it has an antibody, it goes and binds to cancer cells and delivers the radiation internally rather than externally. So again, when we first thought about trying to bring this modality into the area, we thought maybe we would do 5 to 10 treatments a year. I believe last year we did 60 to 70. So again, patients used to have to travel to San Francisco, Portland to have this done. Now they can have it done here. Another important thing is palliative care. We are the only practice or cancer center outside of Portland that has palliative care embedded in the cancer centers. And palliative care is a separate specialty that focuses on symptoms. So patients who are undergoing chemotherapy can have symptoms, pain, nausea from their disease, but they can also have symptoms from the treatment as well. And so Dr. Harmon and Dr. Dibb, we have 2 palliative care doctors who see patients in clinic with us. So a lot of times they see us and then they also see the palliative care physician. So it helps with pain management, symptom management greatly for these patients. And then really exciting new thing that we're trying to bring to the area is bispecific antibodies. And it's a form of immune therapy or immunotherapy. And we've been trying to get this, this new treatment available for about the last 6 months, maybe a year. And now we've gotten all the safety aspects taken care of, the delivery aspects taken care of, and hopefully by the end of this month, we'll be able to provide that care here as well. So that's really, really exciting. Next slide. So, we to improve, we continue to collaborate not only with kind of local and state level organizations, but also national level organizations. So we work with the Oregon Society of Medical Oncology, with the American Society of Clinical Oncology, and goals are to try to improve access to cancer care. That's the most important. Patients should be able to get the same care in Portland and the same care in Brunswick. So that's the goal. And so using these partnerships with OHSU and with national societies, that's a big push for me and for my partners to provide as much of the care locally as we can. Next slide. And then I'll put in a plug for the Walk for Hope. So this year will be our 4th Walk for Hope. We raise money. This is a a day that we celebrate cancer survivors and caregivers. We have a walk, it's about 1.5 miles around Road Regional in Medford. The first year that we did it, we planned it in 8 weeks and had almost 600 people show up. We raised around $20,000 that year. Last year, we had close to 1,100 folks sign up. We raised $250,000. And hopefully, this year, we're trying to get to maybe 500,000. That's the goal. But this money is used for improving infrastructure, adding new technology, and also is used for our compassion fund, our cancer compassion, which is basically a fund that we can use for patients if they need gas money, need to travel, they need a hotel, all those type of. So if you would love to have you attend that as well later this year. I'll hand it off to Christian, and if you have any questions once we're done, I'll be up to answer those.
Well, I think I just had my fundraising goal raised. So y'all heard it here. But community support is crucial to everything that we do. Every major advance that has happened in healthcare, in our community, in our region has happened because the community partnered with us. And we talked about some of the advances that have taken place recently with the Linear Accelerator, Compassion Fund support, and the new robotics program here at the Asante Three Rivers. All of those had a philanthropic component. And it's really that meeting of the physicians, the community, and the hospital leadership that makes it possible. So for Asante Foundation, our work is to engage with the community, to move things forward. And we have 3 priorities in Josephine County that directly impact cancer patients and benefit all of us. The first of those, like the Walk for Hope, like all of the activities that we do, cancer services needs to continue to thrive, education, patient support, and staying ahead of the latest treatments. That's going to be something that we'll always be working on. The robotics program here at Grants Pass. So in the last year, I think it was just in November, we have brought a new robotic surgery program here that had existed before in Rogue Regional, but this is the first time we have a robotic surgical program here. We have the new Da Vinci 5 robot. This is wonderful for minimally invasive surgeries. This has faster healing times for patients. It puts less strain and stress on our physicians so they can practice longer. And it allows us to do new procedures that could not be done before. And right now, the newest, the most state-of-the-art robot in the state is here in Grants Pass. And that doesn't make a program, one robot, there's more to do, but they have completed just in the last week, the 100th surgery with that device. So we're very excited about that and to continue seeing that growth. And then the family house. This is so important. You've heard about all the people who come here from 10 different counties for their treatment. And the family house started with a groundswell of support here and opened in 2008 to provide affordable, home-like lodging for patients when they need to be with us. So you can imagine, if you need to come for radiation 5 days a week for 5 weeks and you're driving from the coast, that is an incredible burden. And we have had the family house now. It provides places for folks like Amanda and Judith who are coming from the coast for treatment. But we turn folks away, not for the inability to pay, because folks can stay there for free or for a suggested very minimal donation. But when we do turn people away, it's because we're full. And so it's time to grow the family house. You'll be hearing more about this from us over the coming months and year, but we're going to double the space. So it was very thoughtfully planned originally. We'll be adding 7 more rooms, more RV spaces, and that's just going to help us fulfill our goal of taking care of more people. So at Asante Foundation, we really believe that philanthropy begins with learning and with advocacy. And so there's some great opportunities for you to stay involved, hear more about the things I've talked about, and just learn so that you can be informed advocates for healthcare in our community. I would encourage you to come to one of our quarterly coffee club events. They take place at the Asante Center for Outpatient Health. You're going to be hearing from our top leaders about the strategic plan for the hospital, or perhaps you're hearing from physicians about the latest in cancer care or other treatments. Super interesting, happens every quarter. We have regular tours of the Spears Cancer Center. We have regular tours of the Family House, and we have tours of the surgical program too. And so you can see someone there got to drive on one of the tours. I can't promise that you get to do that every time, but it's pretty fantastic. We want you to know what's happening. It's important that you're engaged in what's taking place here in our community. And if you're interested, let me know or give us a call at the foundation. With that, I'm going to open it up for any questions.
Thank you, that was fascinating, and I want to know, how many of you have been on a tour of the Spears? I have been, I highly recommend it, it's pretty exciting, and I want to take a moment, I don't know if Dr. Rizvi knows this, but I'm your biggest fan. And I don't want to embarrass him, but you know, I spent at least 30 years of my career as a fundraiser, and he and his wife, who's also an MD, sought me out because they wanted to make a donation to Rowe Community College. And he and his wife have been supportive, and I just want to say thank you for that. Okay, let's have some questions for anyone on our panel. Tina Marie, and then we'll pass this to the person answering.
Yes, I am aware very much of the kind of support that you give not only patients but families. For example, I know you have a wake center for people who can rent wakes. I'm wondering if you have continued the family support groups that help with the sort of psychological aspects of dealing with cancer in the family.
So with COVID, we definitely kind of lost the momentum on that one. We are still trying to claw back kind of the awareness and the availability of those. Right now, we do offer twice monthly support groups, but those are focused more on the actual patient. And so what I can commit to you is I'll go back to my support services team today and talk to them about how we can bring that family support element back to it, because sounds like that was a pretty impactful service. Thank you for that.
From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. And I thank the Spears Cancer Center. 2019, I got told I had prostate cancer. And in May, Dr. Teddy and Brian, using the Da Vinci machine, performed a robotic prostatectomy. And turned out afterwards that the cancer had metastasized. And so I was stage 3. And so I went to Spears Cancer Center, and Dr. Robnet, Ted and Zigzag spent about 2 hours with me, and went through 35 radiation treatments and Lupron therapy. Ladies, I know what a hot flash is. And today I am cancer free, and everybody at Spears Cancer Center was so nice, so helpful. And it's just, this is a great resource for our community, and just thank you.
This is very unofficial, but my sense, at least nationally, is that the incidence of cancer is going way up. But also that the amount of people who are being cured by cancer or cured of their ailment has also accelerated. So it's kind of an odd phenomenon. But is that true? I mean, rates are going up, and the curing aspect.
I think you're correct on that. Part of it also is patients are living longer with cancer. The treatments have gotten better. I'll just give you examples. I'd say 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago, if you were diagnosed with cancer of the lung that had spread, at most you would live maybe 12 months. But now you have patients who 6 years, 7 years out, who aren't on treatment. Potentially, you never want to use the word cured in those situations, but, for long-term control. So yes, so I think there is an increase in incidence. There's also, we've got an older population. And we're kind of a victim of our own success. In that patients are being treated for longer, so we're a lot more busy for that reason.
So thank you, first of all, for all that, your commitment, all that you're doing. I'm very grateful for the Spears Cancer Center. My husband also had prostate cancer. He was pretty early on. The Spears had just opened, I think, the cancer center when he was able to use it. And I will say that there was sort of a wall where people like myself, the family or friends, don't go on the other side to where the radiation is happening. But one of the people that was a technician asked me if I would like to see what goes on back there. And I said, yeah. So I went back and saw the machines. I'm telling you, it was Star Trek. It was. Anyway, but I also would like to know, will there be some or any kind of advertisement that we can look at for the house, so that we can be in on that, updates on that, and also on the walk. And I'm assuming we would have to go to Medford to be in on that walk, but I would like to know publicity-wise when that's gonna be.
Absolutely. Thank you for your interest in that. So right away, you can always go to asantefoundation.org. There's information about all of our priorities, but you'll be seeing, gosh, we publicize in different ways as the walk comes up, from yard signs to social media. And so do follow Asante Foundation and Asante, and that's a great way to get very shareable things as well. And we have also been really fortunate. I will say Steve Rowe has donated in the past his commercial airtime to promote the Walk for Hope. That's part of his long-term commitment to supporting cancer care, is something so important to him. So I would be remiss if I didn't say we owe a lot to Steve too.
Thank you so much, and let's turn it over now to sergeants. We have Janie Duo, newbie. Come on up, let's hear from you.
Greg Fishwick is trying to tell me to tell you we've got cards to sell. So raise your hand if you like some cards and Greg will come around. So I can't believe I'm up here because I was up here just a few weeks ago in the vocational panel. And I told everybody afterwards, oh, that was awful. I hate being up here. And then 2 weeks later, Judy says, will you get up there and do sergeant? And so what I think I've learned about myself is that my discomfort with saying no to people is greater than my discomfort of public speaking. So here I am again. Okay, so May 1st today, you guys, May Day. So if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims, very good. And I'm going to tell you a little story about spring and how smart our teachers are. So 4 high school boys were afflicted with spring fever and they skipped their morning classes at school. And after lunch, they come in and they report to the teacher that the reason they were late to school that day was because they had a flat tire while they were coming into school that morning. Much to their relief, the teacher smiles and says, well, you missed a test today, so take your seats apart from each other and take out a sheet of paper and we're going to do the test. Still smiling, she waits for them to sit down and then she says, first question, which tire was it? Don't we love our teachers? They're so sweet. Okay, I'm keeping it brief because I know you all have happy bucks to share. And I'll start with a few happy bucks myself. The first one was for that great program. We are so lucky to have the medical services we have and the great people that are working for Asante. And thank you, Gina Marie, for being part of that. And I have another happy buck for my camping trip last week, which was fabulous in this beautiful spring weather. Okay, who else has some happy bucks? Go ahead.
Well, I was extremely happy. I got to spend a week in Georgia getting to visit my daughter. So I was thrilled. The sad part was is Mike came down sick the night before and he couldn't go with us.
Oh.
Okay, I have 10 happy bucks. Only because when you go to another country like we do, and one of us gets sick, you kind of wonder, oh, great, what's gonna happen? Well, my husband got sick and had to be hospitalized for 24 hours. Well, let me tell you, those people down at Cozumel are wonderful, beautiful people. They helped us, they cared for him exceptionally well, and he's feeling so much better. So for us and the people of Cozumel, our hearts are with them because they are just a fantastic group of people.
Hey, I have several happy bucks. Speaking of April showers that brought my May flowers, I'm so excited. I'm just like my mother. I go out there now, take pictures of all my flowers. So someday, because I remember when she was at the end of her life, she would just sit there and watch all the flowers come back on that little photo thing. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that, number one. And then our group today was absolutely fantastic. That was wonderful, like I said, blessed community. And the third thing is I get to go up to Portland, my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters is turning 14 this weekend, so I get to go up and celebrate her birthday with her.
Okay, I'm gonna give $20 happy bucks. First, my sister got to come here and she was interested in the program because her husband's been going to the Spears Center for the last 4 years. He's been given 6 months to live for 4 years. And I can't believe. Anyway, he's doing great without weed weeding this morning. And then I want to thank Lutz for giving me a name from the Taste of the Broke and sitting at someone's table. They'd be interested. I emailed them. They emailed back within minutes. They sent me their logo, and that was the easiest sponsor we've ever. And the third thing is that we are at $44,000 for Porch Fest.
Wow.
We had real low expectations for this year because of all the economic uncertainty. Some of our biggest sponsors said no at first, but they ended up giving us half of what they usually give. We're happy with that, but $44,000.
Great job fundraising team.
I've got some happy bucks because my little hobby vineyard has sprouted, we got bud break, and they are already, some of them are a foot high, and they all have little bits of grapes on them. A few years ago, we had 60 gallons of wine. And then the deer found that my puppy died, and the next year we had 14 gallons of wine. And I got a new pup that didn't know any better. Last year we only got 4 gallons of wine. But this year I'm hopeful that we got a new fence and the deer will leave it alone and we'll have a fine pick or great picking party come fall.
All right.
My happy bucks are because I see in front of Carol, it says Grants Pass School District Volunteer Handbook for Parkside Pioneers. And that makes me happy that there's going to be a new volunteer there, I think.
Microphone.
What?
When I went to Parkside, which is very close to where I live. And I went in and I told them what I was going to be doing and I needed a form to fill out. They looked at me like I was crazy. And they found one and they said, you don't have to do this. So any of you that are planning on going, I guess you can just go ahead and go.
I have happy bucks, 4 happy bucks, because I have a very special place in my heart for Cozumel. 33 years ago, I met this wonderful man and his name was David, and he was such a pleasant company. I invited him to go to Cozumel with me. We weren't married at the time, but the honeymoon was such delight, we got married.
I can't talk that much.
No.
While we're talking about traveling, I had sort of a safety buck for Margaret, who's going to Bend to try to take care of some things, but also for Leonora Rogers and her partner Tom McDonald, who are on their way to Guatemala today, where they'll be staying for years. And I think if you want to visit, you do more travel.
I have, back at the school. Is this working? For the talk today, and when he mentioned, that new linear accelerator, my father was part of the original linear accelerator testing group at Stanford in the 70s. And it added probably 10 years to his life then. So what it could do now, I know is amazing. So it has a place in my heart.
I just have a few happy bucks for the presentation today, and also I have $10 for a Porch Fest shirt.
All right, anybody else? No? Okay, well then let's go ahead and draw a card. Let's see, where you're right here. Native parts.
All right, Jim Huber. Okay, I have 2 thoughts for today, so it's good we have 5 extra minutes. The first one has been attributed to both Mark Twain and Yogi Berra. It's hard to make predictions, especially about the future. And then on a more serious note from Pope Francis, to change the world, we must be good to those who cannot repay us. Thanks everyone for being here, and we will see you next week.